Hello, this is Rochelle Cook. I'm one of the co-founders of Joymind Hypnotherapy. And firstly, I just want to thank you for coming to this webinar. I really appreciate it. What is hypnotherapy? Hypnotherapy works with the subconscious mind, which rules your life. The reason why you can drive a car, you can read, you can write, you can walk, you can run, chew gum, brush teeth, is because you learned how to do it and the subconscious mind remembers. I'm going to go back. Think about when you were a young child and you learned how to crawl and walk and run. The subconscious mind remembered that at an early age, and it continues to this day to do what it has learned. We adults become what we learned as children. And sometimes that can be a problem because if you learned some bad habits as a child, or you learned that you weren't good enough, that is going to play out in your life today. So what hypnotherapy does is it helps you relax. You're very relaxed when you speak to the hypnotherapist. And what it does is we get you in a relaxed state. We know how to speak with you. And then all of a sudden, that subconscious mind starts to take in all the new information. And then you just, it's a shift. And sometimes it can be very gentle, very subtle. You just shift and you start thinking differently. And the things that you have called us because you needed help with, they no longer exist. They just don't exist. So that's what clinical hypnotherapy is. It is not a stage show where people turn you into a chicken. It is not what you've seen in a movie where somebody hypnotizes you to go create harm to others. It's not possible. Unless you want to do something, it's not going to happen. So when you come to us, we know that you want to relieve your anxiety and your stress, or maybe eating too much, or I don't know, there's so many different areas we can help you with. Stop smoking. If you want to do that, which we know you do, you don't have to know how. Sometimes you don't even know why. We're going to talk to your subconscious mind, change its perception. I know I'm repeating myself, and you're going to see that these habits or upset that you're experiencing no longer, they just don't exist. Hypnotherapy actually transforms your life, and it's amazing because it doesn't take as much time as it would with traditional therapy because we're getting into that subconscious, which again rules your life. You know, a quick example is somebody wants to lose weight and they want to eat, let's just say, chocolate cake. And this is a very simple example. They grew up, you know, it's their birthday, we have the candles on the cake, the kids sing happy birthday to you, and then they get all their presents. Oh, it's a grand finale. Well, when you get older, your subconscious mind says, oh, I'm upset. Or, you know, I need to feel love for some reason. So guess what? It's going to eat the chocolate cake. It's what you learn to do. And that's just one example. I could tell you other ones that aren't as nice as that, which make people want to eat. So we'll just stick to that example. How does people ask me sometimes, what is hypnotherapy? How does it work? How does it work with Joymind? What happens is you set up an appointment with us. You speak to one of our wonderful concierges, and I'm going to answer some questions here in a minute. I'm waiting for some text to come through. And they set up an appointment with us, and you sit behind your screen. It's very simple. And you're in the comfort face to face in your own house with your hypnotherapist. And they're just going to start talking to you, and you're going to, you know, become friends basically. And then they're going to ask you to close your eyes. And because you're in your own home, you're going to feel more relaxed, and that hypnotherapy is going to even work faster. And I say to people, when you walk in your home, most of the time you're like, I'm home. And I don't know if you've experienced that, but now that I said that to you, you watch. The next time you walk in your house, watch what happens. You're going to go, oh, I'm home. You're going to notice it. That's the first part of hypnotherapy is we need to relax you. So here you are face to face in the comfort of your own home, speaking with your hypnotherapist, and then it's time to hypnotize you. And a lot of it's already done because you're in a relaxed state. Okay, so that's how we at Joymind conduct our sessions. And I know that they're very, very successful because I've been doing this for over 15 years. And when you hear something over and over and over again, you know it to be true. You know it to be true. We call this statistics. So there are some questions here. I've had some questions, and feel free to text some more. The questions are, will hypnotherapy from Charles take my anxiety away? Yes, hypnotherapy is known to help people with many things, including anxiety. My question is, where did the anxiety come from? What did you learn as a child? And now you're anxious. And now your subconscious mind, it thinks it's protecting you. So it's going to continue to be anxious because the other shoe's going to drop. Something's going to happen. And that's why you're anxious. And it's all built on fear. So what hypnotherapy does, and I've already said this, it goes into the subconscious mind and it teaches the subconscious mind a new trick. You don't have to be afraid anymore because everything is okay. And then you realize that you don't have to be afraid. You're okay. And it's interesting because when I speak to people, they want to fix the problem, but they're afraid. Or they think of an excuse like, oh, I have to think about it. This is what's happening. It's called homeostasis. Your subconscious mind does not want you to stop this anxiety because anxiety is thinking that it's keeping you safe. So it's going to come up with lots of excuses why you shouldn't contact us or why you shouldn't say, okay, let's book a session. That it's very, very normal. Anxiety, even though it's making you miserable, it doesn't matter. It wants to keep you safe. That's what it's learned, and that's what it does. Okay? Sarah, is it beneficial to be hypnotized for multiple things? Actually, it is, but depending on what those things are, depends on if we can, if we can wrap them all together, and we can, because usually everything's related. I haven't actually seen it any other way, but if let's say we're working with you on smoking, we're probably not going to wrap all these other things because smoking is smoking, right? And hypnosis is known to stop smoking. But if you're coming for anxiety, then we can probably wrap all of these things together. I hope that answers your question. Certain times it will be one thing at a time, but I've only seen that happen very, very few times. Very, very few times. Question, Christian, how can I get over a bad breakup? Well, firstly, I know how difficult that is. And we can definitely, hypnotherapy, here we go again, can help you with a bad breakup. And the reason why is because we all, you know what, we all learned growing up, and it's just human nature that we want to be loved. And if we're not, it's bad. So, of course, you're going to be upset if you have a breakup. Why wouldn't you be? You're a human being. But there are certain levels of upset. Are you so upset that you can't function? What's really going on? And that usually takes me back to childhood. What happened in childhood? Because we adults become what we learned as children. I wrote a book on relationships and why we attract toxic ones. We can help you overcome a bad relationship by hypnotizing you because we have to teach the subconscious mind that yes, the relationship is over, but you're not going to die. You're going to be okay. You're going to recover and you can flourish in your life. And this is actually, all these questions are very big conversations. So it's hard for me to address them, within this hour. So I'm giving brief answers, but we just have to change your perception. It's really that simple. Multiple sessions. I have a lot of people say to me, how many sessions is this going to take? You know what? It's going to take a few. We see that 6 sessions of hypnotherapy is equal to about 600 sessions of psychotherapy. And I'm not going to tell you how many sessions something's going to take because I'm actually not speaking to you one-on-one and figuring out what you need help with. But what I will say is, firstly, peace is priceless. This one I know. And secondly, it's not going to take as long as you think. And it's going to take, it works pretty fast, actually, as long as you're committed to it. And the question is, do you want to suffer or do you want to end your pain and suffering as fast as possible? Sarah asked, is it beneficial to be, overeating. We spoke about that. with the chocolate cake. It's the same answer. You're overeating because you learn to eat. If you don't eat, we all don't live. So of course you have to eat. So my question is, why are you overeating? What's really going on? Why is your cup half empty and not full? So what is hypnotherapy going to do? It's going to teach your subconscious mind that your cup is overflowing, and when you're not hungry anymore, you just don't eat. It also can be a habit. It can definitely be a habit, and hypnotherapy is very good for breaking habits, and it's very good for what was I going to say? Phobias and fears, because anything learned can be unlearned. So we have to teach that subconscious mind that thinks it's doing the right thing and it's not. No, 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 no. You're not going to go overeat. It's not healthy for you. It's not working for you. We're also going to teach you you don't have to be afraid to drive. You don't have to be afraid of the bird flying or a cat or a dog. People are afraid and they usually have reasons for it, right? That is classic hypnotherapy one-on-one. So without a doubt, it can help you. Let me look here. What if you can't pinpoint the reason why you have an issue? She has Tessa. Tessa has a problem with being interviewed, public speaking, anxiety. But I've given a lot of thought to what may have happened when I was younger, but I don't know. I'm sure someone laughed or made me feel judged at some point. You hit the nail on the head. Public speaking is one of the number one fears. Of course, we're afraid to interview. It's human nature because, it's scary. You want the job. It's scary. But to what extent? To what extent? What I have found is when people grow up being judged, I could talk so long about all these subjects. They told they weren't good enough. They've been bullied. They grew up feeling they're not worthy or deserving. They're the first people that are going to be really scared to the point they can barely speak in public, whether it's on a stage or just social anxiety. An interview, I mean, that could be a disaster because what if someone doesn't approve of you? What's going on is you don't feel worthy and deserving. So what we need to do is teach your subconscious that you're worthy and deserving. We need to undo what you learned. We need to undo what you learned. Lance says, just interested in hypnotherapy. Okay, well, that's a generic question. I'm hoping that by the time you finish watching this, you'll understand more about hypnotherapy. It's not really entertainment. We're clinical hypnotherapists. We are not people that studied for a week or two or a few days. The people that work with us have gone to school for a year, over 1,000 hours, hundreds of pro bono hours. They've also had many certifications. Hypnotherapy changes the perception of the subconscious mind. So if you have an issue that you want to conquer, then we can help you. That's the best I can say about just interested in hypnotherapy, because I don't know how to answer that question. So hopefully, again, what I'm talking about will answer you. Kelly asks, how much does it cost to do, and do you accept any insurance? Unfortunately, we don't accept like Blue Cross and all of those things. We do accept HSA and FSA. I have had a few of my clients, and I'm not telling you to do this, but they have submitted our rates to their insurance company. And I've had a couple people that the insurance company applied it towards their deductible, but typically we do not take insurance. How much does it cost? It depends what you need help with. We have rates. I can't even talk about those right now because I don't know what you need help with, and it's a longer conversation. And we also have a sliding scale if you need some help. So what you would do is you would book a consultation with us so we could kind of get to know you and figure out what's going on. And then absolutely we will help you. We will help you. I'm looking for some more questions here. I have repressed memories and I'm also experiencing mild depression. Will this help? Mild depression, yes, because we can go in and talk to the subconscious mind about the depression. Yes. Repressed memories, we don't do regression work. Absolutely not. The reason why is it true or not? You watch a lot of television, you hear a lot of stories from people, and regression work can create a bit of a problem because your subconscious remembers everything you do, everything you've seen, you've heard, the sense, it remembers everything. So we could take you back and do regression work, which again, we don't do, and you may come up with a false memory and your whole life could be destroyed, depending on what it is. So we don't work with that, but we can help you with mild depression. And I can tell you personally, when you start working with somebody and it's done in the right way, you're going to notice that some of the memories might come back, but they won't be as scary if that's what you're worried about, right? But if your mind can't remember something, it's protecting you. Work with what you have now. Work with what you have now. And especially when it comes to depression, call me personally, because that's one of my favorite subjects. I have a lot of favorite subjects, but that's one of them. Another question, I'm looking at my text. I'm sorry. Can hypnosis help me control my panic attacks? From Russell. Yes. And usually the panic attacks, you start with anxiety and then you have the panic attacks. And what's weird about panic attacks, you never know when they're going to happen. You could be fine and then you just have the panic attack. And what happens with these panic attacks, like they're hard to control. And then people are afraid of having the panic attack, so they have the panic attack. And some of my clients were afraid before we started working together to go out because they were too scared they'd be somewhere and have a panic attack and what they were going to do. It's a horrible feeling. And then they become more controlling in their life, which usually started before even these panic attacks, because they want them not to happen and you can't control it. So what hypnotherapy does is we go back and figure out, okay, we've got panic attacks, we have anxiety, but what started this in the first place? And again, people that suffer from anxiety tend to be very controlling. All of that tells us something. We figure out what is that root issue, and then we go where you learned it, which is stored in the subconscious mind, reframe the perception of the subconscious mind, and then you're going to see that you don't have these issues anymore. Does it take some time? Yeah, it does. It does. But it's not going to take as much time as it would with traditional therapy. And I am, by the way, not saying to anybody that if you feel you need psychological, a psychiatrist medication, anything like that, we are not against that. You have to do what's right for you. We have a do no harm policy, just to let you know, because there are certain times when people will call us that there's some problems that we're probably not going to address. But if it's just it isn't too serious and life threatening, then we can help you. What else is there? So we do work through childhood trauma. It's called trauma reversal. And it's really simple. The child, the inner child, you're the adult, the inner child lives in your subconscious mind, and he or she is continuing to rule your life today. So when we go into that subconscious mind and we reframe its perception, I know I keep saying this to you, you are going to see change occur. You're going to see change occur. Hypnotherapy can reduce your anxiety, your stress. It can help you to relax. It can help you to sleep. It can help you to focus. It's just going to help you feel better. Again, peace is priceless. Allow those shoulders to drop. It can help you stop attracting toxic relationships and take control of your life. Get over one. Attract one. You can't attract a relationship if you think you're not good enough. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. Okay? It can again work through childhood trauma. And everything that we do is one-on-one. We are not cookie cutter. Everybody is different. We are safe. And hypnotherapy is an effective approach. And our people are very good at what they do because the type of therapy that we've studied teaches you to work with someone's personality. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? We all think differently. And you cannot hypnotize a person unless you understand at their core, what kind of person are they? How do they take in information, right? How do they take in information? Then you hypnotize them. Okay. Even the Mayo Clinic, it says hypnosis can be used to help you gain control over undesired behaviors or to help you cope better with anxiety and pain, it's important to know that although you're uh, more open to suggestion during hypnosis, you do not lose control of your behavior. We cannot make you do anything you don't want to do. And if you decide, yeah, you know what, I'm feeling uncomfortable, which I've never heard at all the years I've ever done this, you just open your eyes. I highly doubt anyone's going to feel uncomfortable, but you just open your eyes. Seeing if there's any last questions here. I'm sorry, I'm just reading the text. Somebody said I was a little skeptical because I was unsure about hypnotherapy, but it took one session and 1 week to start noticing small changes to my thoughts. But that's how it starts. And after the third session, this person was shocked by how much better she felt. And I'm not telling you only need 3 sessions. I don't know. I'm not talking to you. Typically, it's a bit more, but I don't know. I don't know. Everyone is different. Everyone thinks about things differently. Oh, we also give you a recording. So the hypnosis part of it, you will receive the recording. And what we want you to do is to continue to listen to it between sessions because it's going to offer you that support. It's like a pond of water. It has, all this water in it, but you keep putting rocks and sand in it, there's not going to be water left. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. People ask, they do ask, is hypnosis dangerous? Hopefully you know this by now. No, it's not. You're not going to turn into a zombie. Again, we can't make you do anything you don't want to do. It's really funny because when we hypnotize you, I'm actually one of these people that did it. Sometimes you're very relaxed and you're very calm. I don't know anyone that's like this. I haven't seen that one yet. People are just relaxed, and then it's funny. All of a sudden, you're thinking, "Hey, what's for dinner tonight?" Or no, no, no. What am I going to do tomorrow? And then you're back into that relaxed state. And I remember when I started doing this, I was the subject. I was being hypnotized. I started thinking this isn't working because I'm sitting there analyzing the hypnotherapist. That's what I do, right? And then I'm like thinking about a client and, oh, this could be interesting. And then I'm really relaxed doing what I do and everything's great. I'm done. And I went in for public speaking because I was petrified. Well, a couple weeks later, I'm on a stage 3 times a day, 3 hours each time in front of hundreds of people, and I have no problem. People come up and say, "Can I touch you?" And you don't understand. I was so afraid that my mouth would start shaking and I couldn't do it. And I did the same thing around some other issues that I'm not going to talk about at the moment that were actually very serious. So I know it works, but it's not one of those things where you're going to just be totally blot out and turn into a zombie. And you may lose focus or think about something else, but the hypnotherapist isn't talking to you. The hypnotherapist is talking to your subconscious. Okay. We do offer a free consultation, so please feel free to call us and we can answer even more questions. You can just book a free consultation online, which I believe you're getting a link. Mm-hmm. And now I'm gonna hypnotize you. Now this isn't going to be long, and I don't know what you're working with, so it's not going to be exactly the same as what we would do in hypnotherapy because we're going to talk to you, figure out what's going on. We're going to be watching certain things, which I'm not going to tell you, and listening to you. Oh, do we listen to you? And then we hypnotize you. So I'm not getting to do any of that. But what I want to do is I want to just kind of give you an idea of what hypnotherapy looks like. So the first thing, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. In your mind's eye, close your eyes. In your mind's eye, I want you to think about your front door. I want you to think about your front door. What color is it? Does it have one of those peepholes you look into? Is it a doorknob? How do you open the door? Is the door rough? Is it smooth? Is it cold? Is it hot? Think about that. Okay, I know you just thought about it, so I know most people can do this. You have an idea, you can imagine, right? Okay, one more. If I were to say to you, I'm going to cut this beautiful, ripe, even warm lemon, and it's really ripe, and I'm going to cut it. And when I cut it, the juices come out, and it's really juicy, and it's like fresh, and it's new. And when you take a bite, you can just bite into it because it's really soft. And I'm wondering if your mouth puckers. Now, some of you will experience, yeah, my mouth puckered. Some of you won't. It doesn't matter. Did you see the front door? Okay. So starting now, what I want everyone to do is go ahead and close your eyes. It's a nice thing to close your eyes, let me tell you. And take in a deep letting go breath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count from 1 to 10 and 10 back down to 1. You don't need to think about anything. Nothing is right. Nothing is wrong. Just listen to my voice. If you want to think about what's for dinner tonight, go ahead. You might want to just listen to my voice. So I'm going to count from 1 to 10 and 10 back down to 1. Starting from 1, you can feel the room around you. 2, the surface beneath you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going back down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Letting go and releasing, releasing and letting go, sinking deeply, calmly, and soundly into the surface beneath you. Just maybe taking in another deep letting go breath. Now, what I'd like you to do is visualize, picture, or pretend that there's a beautiful light hovering over your head. There's nothing to see, there's nothing to do. And it's a very nice light. Perhaps it's coming from the sun. I don't know. Were you sitting on the beach? And you can feel the warmth. Boy, is that a nice feeling. Think about that. Were you in a park? I don't know. But you can just remember a time when you felt the sun on your head, and it was a very nice feeling. Allow that beautiful, golden, warm, gentle light to hover over your forehead and over your eyes. While your eyes are closed, look down. Just taking the time to relax. Just relax. It's all okay. Just listen to my voice right now. If you can see or feel anything, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Just listen to my voice. Just allow yourself the permission to experience some nice relaxation. Allow the light to travel over your face, noticing that your jaw relaxes, your teeth separate. The more your jaw relaxes, the more your teeth separate. The more your teeth separate, the more your jaw relaxes. That you may notice during the day or at night, I'm clenching or grinding. And you may notice that. And you'll purposely separate your teeth in your jaw and say, oh, I'm relaxed, as you are right now. Allow the light to travel over your mouth, reminding you that sometimes silence is golden, because when you're silent, you can hear that authentic self speak, the part of you that knows what you know, what you know. You're a worthy person. You're a lucky, healthy, happy person. You can be calm and relax and use the power of your mind to change by just thinking. That's true, by the way. And as I'm saying that, you may be taking in another deep letting go breath. Allow the light to travel down your throat, maybe feeling need to swallow, and that's okay. And allow it to hover over your shoulders, and this is where we hold on to anything that disturbs our peace. It's kind of like these bricks keep stacking on our shoulders. Well, go ahead and just let them go. Let them go into the chair and onto the floor, releasing and letting go and releasing. Into the chair and onto the floor, releasing and letting go and releasing. Just letting go, and you may even notice that your shoulders, they drop. It's a nice feeling just to let your shoulders drop. It's like, oh, I Feel better. Allow the light to travel down through your arms and your hands and your fingertips. Maybe noticing that one hand and arm is heavier than the other. So very, 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 very heavy. You don't even want to lift it up. Why do you need to? It's not even necessary. Just let the hands and arms feel like wet noodles by your side. Just letting go. It's like your shoulders are dropped and your arms and your hands and your fingers have dropped and they're just feeling heavy. You're just breathing in calmly and soundly, sinking deeply, calmly, and soundly into the surface beneath you. It's a nice feeling. Allow the light to travel down through your back and over your heart. And this is where you know what you know, what you know. I'm going to tell you, you're worthy and deserving by just being born. And your mind has the power to do things that you can't even imagine. That I can tell you from personal experience against the impossible. You know it. It's a fact. And oh, peace is priceless. It's very nice to be able to look in the mirror and love who you are, go look at the sun and smile. In fact, you may even notice that when you see the sun, that it looks a little brighter than it did before. In fact, you're going to notice when you see that sun, probably going to get a little smile on your face, like, that Rochelle was right. You're going to see the sun, and it's going to look brighter. It's going to look different. It's going to give you a little, like a little lift. You'll see. You just watch. It's going to happen. Allow that light to travel down through your legs, your thighs, your knees, your shins, and allow it to puddle around your feet, lighting the path before you, knowing that you're on the right path. You're on the right path. All you got to do is take one step at a time. And what I want you to do is, if you can, visualize, picture, or pretend that you're walking down this beautiful path and it's lit by the light. And you're just taking one step at a time and your shoulders have dropped. And all of a sudden you come to a fork in the road and you decide to walk in the opposite direction. You're walking in the opposite direction, and the reason why is because you're going to make some changes. You are going to choose to use the power of your mind so that you no longer have to experience things that disturb your peace. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. So you're walking on the opposite side of the path, and oh, you're feeling even more calm and more relaxed because you've made a choice. You made a choice. You can't control what everyone else is thinking out there, but you can control, to a large degree, what you think. The last of the human freedoms that any man can take away from you under any given circumstance or situation is how you choose to think. And suffering is noble, so wear a badge of honor. And you're walking and you know this and you're embracing it. And go ahead and take in another deep letting go breath. And know that when you do this, you can even put your hand over your heart and say to yourself, I'm home. Now I'm going to count from 0 to 5. When I get to 5, your eyes will be wide awake and you'll remember everything I've said. Starting from 0, you can feel the room around you. 1, the surface beneath you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes wide awake. So I have another text. I hope that kind of gave you a little teeny tiny snapshot of how we can help you. And I have somebody saying, I'm not a believer in hypnosis, not thinking I can be hypnotized. Will this be a hindrance? I'm an open free thinker. Well, hey, Charles, this is really cool because you're an open free thinker. Irving, I'm sorry, it was Irving. I'm sorry, I read you wrong. you're an open thinker. That's really a big thing. And firstly, if you're not you don't really have to be a believer, especially if you've never done this before. But if you really don't think hypnotherapy would ever work for you and you're not interested, then you probably shouldn't call us. But what I can tell you you can be hypnotized. The difference is that we have to remember when I said our hypnotherapists talk to you and they understand your personality. That is why you'll be hypnotized, because if we understand that, you're not a believer and you're just a little worried about it, right? And you want to be hypnotized because you're a free thinker, but you're just wondering if this belief that you have could be a hindrance. Not if you're working with the right person, because they're going to explain to you in words that you understand why it can work, and they're going to make you feel more comfortable, and you're going to have a chance to ask a lot of questions, which I can read that you need to do, and that's okay. Why would it not be? And a lot of clients, I will say, were very skeptical, very much so. But after they experienced it, they realized that they should have done it a long time ago. So there's nothing wrong with saying that, you think something might not work. But Ashley, you can book an appointment with me, free consultation, and I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it, and I'll help you understand why it can work. Why it can work. The big thing is we have to hypnotize you in a way that your brain takes in information so it will work. Okay. Let me see if there's any more questions. If there's anybody that has any burning questions, I would love to answer them. I would love to answer them. Anger. Oh, anger stems from hurt, and hypnotherapy can definitely help you, because what upset you so much that you now are angry, which unfortunately spills into other areas of your life that really may not have had too much to do with what happened, where you learned it. Kind of does, actually, but sometimes it doesn't. We have to change the perception of the subconscious mind. Anger stems from hurt. It can also come because if you had two parents, one of them were screaming at each other, very angry, guess what you learned? You learned to be angry. That's what you learned. And that isn't very good for relationships, by the way. We can change the perception of the subconscious mind. So what's really gonna happen is, through all of this, you're gonna start to see that you're not broken. You never were. You never were. It's just what you learned. And you are not what you learned. You are not. And you're going to find that every symptom that you experience makes sense through makes sense, and through neuroscience, right? That's how Joymind looks at hypnotherapy. What we actually really do is we help you create new neural pathways, so you learn how to think differently. And then what we do is, because of this type of work, you actually raise your level of consciousness and you think very differently, because you're not stuck in that trap of I'm this or that, labeling yourself. We fix the problem so you can get on and lead your life, right? And life is short, so you might as well be happy while you're in it. Any other questions? I'm looking. I don't know how much time I have left, actually. Again, you can call us for a free consultation. Another question. I'm always afraid when I'm in a relationship that somebody's going to leave me. Well, that usually stems from abandonment. So of course you're going to be afraid. Of course you are. Firstly, not everybody leaves. And remember something, your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. Well, I could talk all day on this subject. It was my own personal story. Not everybody leaves, and if they do, you don't want them. You don't want them. But that's really, really scary, because it's really, really scary, because those feelings, which are not facts, feel real. So hypnotherapy is going to go figure out, the hypnotherapist is going to figure out, where is this coming from? And again, we're going to change your perception. Lenny's saying, I have hope. Can't wait to get started. Oh, trust me, I can't wait to get started either. Feel free to call me for a free consultation because, oh, you're going to get started all right. I'm telling you, I happen to know these things personally without going into my own story. You can read my book, that'll help you. But this stuff really works because, again, your subconscious mind rules your life. Think about an iceberg in the ocean. The part that's under the water that you can't see, that's the subconscious, and that is what's ruling your life. That's what's happening. It's like the question I answered about I'm afraid someone's going to leave me. Of course you are. What happened when you were a child? Something happened. A lot of abandonment, or I see people that were bullied, don't feel they're good enough, so everyone's going to leave them because they're going to find out that they're damaged goods or a fraud. That's not true. That was just something you learned by people that we have compassion for because they didn't realize what they were doing, I'm hoping. And unfortunately, you, the child, learn that's the way it is, and that's not true. That is just not true. That is not true. I want to remind everybody, all of you, that hypnotherapy is safe and it's natural and it's effective and it works for many, many issues because what it does is it targets the root issues and it causes all those negative beliefs that you have or habits, things you're suffering from. It helps you let them go so you have a new lease on life. The subconscious mind, we target it with these new positive messages. Remember what I told you about the pond? And because we're changing its story, right? Its story, and we're putting in what you want. This is about you, right? What do you want? What kind of change do you want to see? What's going to make you feel at peace and be happy? That's what we put in that subconscious mind, and that's what you're going to get. Okay? And again, we're creating new neural pathways. And these neural pathways send new signals, and it is what you believe. It is what you believe. The things we work with is anxiety and stress, panic attacks, all different kinds of relationship issues, weight loss, binge eating, a lot of weight loss issues. Medical hypnosis is very good for pain, ADHD, OCD, fibromyalgia, IBS, mystery illness, menopause. Then, of course, we handle anger, PTSD, grief, loss, guilt, shame, childhood trauma. I'm reading all this because it's too much for me to remember. And then we have fears and phobias like driving, spiders, dog, cats, bloods, needles. A big one, especially after the pandemic, afraid of germs, but it can be serious, afraid of germs, very, very serious. Claustrophobia. I'm sorry, my list was moved out so quickly I can't continue to see it. Whatever it is you're suffering from. Oh, elevators. That list could go on. Afraid to fly. Hypnotherapy is backed by science. If you go to our website, joymind.com, you can read about it. You can also book an appointment there if you'd like. We have a wonderful concierge department that's going to answer all of your questions. You can also contact me. And here's one promise I can make. When somebody really chooses to change, they don't have to know how to do it. But when they actually choose it and they find the right help, it will happen. It will happen. I had a client, I can say his first name because he's on my website, Jared. Oh, now I hate to do this. Rochelle, a Joymind co-founder, is something else. I can't read this. He's basically saying that it was a really good experience. You can go read it on the website. I'm not reading that. It came on one of my slides. I'm not doing it. You can go look at all of those testimonials and see for yourself that we know what we're doing. I think if there's something that you're suffering with and I haven't mentioned it, call me because I can always see, we can talk about it. Can we help you? Can we not? Right? Here's a really cool thing. This is important, is that you work from the comfort of your own home. I used to have offices, and what happened was the pandemic hit. Let me go back. I had offices, and I worked through Zoom and all over the world. Okay. And one thing I didn't like when I had the office is I would hypnotize you, but then when you were done, you had to leave. You couldn't sit and hang out and just take that space, which you really need. You had to leave because I had other clients waiting. And I got to see my clients. So the pandemic hit and we all closed down and it wasn't an option. So I had a waiting list to start with, but oh, that waiting list grew very, very fast. So we decided to open Joymind because we know there are a lot of very good hypnotherapists around the country, and we didn't have to just settle for people in the area. We wanted to get the best, right? So we went out and found all these hypnotherapists, and I interviewed them personally because I take this very, very seriously. It's very personal to me. And we found really good people, and we started helping everybody again through Zoom. A lot of you may know it as telehealth. And by the way, this was being done way before the pandemic. People were using telehealth for years, but the pandemic helped the public say, oh, I've got to do this because I don't want to leave my home. I'm afraid to go out there. So we started doing everything by Zoom. And what I noticed personally, I hate to admit this because I put a lot of time into my offices, but it was even better. And that's when I figured out it's better because, like I said earlier, I'm not going to repeat myself. You're in the comfort of your own home. And remember, you're going to walk into your house sometime soon and go, oh, you're going to notice it. Two things, that and the sun. You're going to feel the comfort of your home. Watch. And you're going to look at the sun. It's going to be brighter. You watch those two things. It's going to happen. And you might even, when you see your front door, you might want to really touch the part you haven't touched before. Okay. So people were comfortable in their home. And then when we were finished, they didn't have to run out because somebody else needed that chair to sit in so they could be hypnotized. They didn't need to get in the car. They didn't need to sit in traffic. They didn't have to blah, 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 take that time out of their day, which it takes to go to an office. It was this peaceful, wonderful sanctuary in their own personal space. So the hypnotherapy works even more so. And you know what? These days, time is precious. So you don't have to be driving all over the world, right? I just want to read to you Joymind's mission, which is what the core of our company is. Joymind's mission is to surpass everything known about hypnotherapy's effectiveness as a rapid healing and coaching modality, and to deliver significant transformation to the largest number of people in history. And I love the word transformation because, like I said, I've done this for over 15 years, and I know that it works. I've dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma. And I can tell you, these people have changed their lives. I'm one of them. So we invite you to experience and really, truly thrive, change your life, but you have to choose it. And I don't think you'll regret it. So thank you. And we look forward to helping you. Thank you.